What's up, you guys? I'm joined by Pete, Chess Bootcamp Live member, and in particular, student of evil, wouldn't you say, Pete? I think very much in the in Christina's tradition.
An apprentice of evil. Yeah.
My apprentice. Well, I'm working on my evil mastery as well. So, reason Pete's on is that you sent me a couple of King's Gambit games earlier on, and which you thought were a good case studies in the art of evil. So we've got one of your games up, and then we might go through one of mine as well in the Russo earlier on, because I know you play that as well. So yeah, let's go through this one. So I've got the controls. Obviously, it's the King's Gambit E4, E5, F4. And you prefer this to the more sedate Vienna.
Yeah, I do. I think you can end up in some of the many of the same structures a lot of the time, especially in King's Gambit Declined.
Because this is obviously the Vienna Gambit position as well. So they are very closely related.
Right. And often in the King's Gambit Declined, you'll get knight to c6 by
Yeah,
black.
yeah.
So it's not
Mhm.
the Fork Beer Vienna Gambit, but it's still a structure that Vienna Gambit players will see a
Mm.
lot.
So here, opponent takes, and you play. This is the Bishop's Gambit.
Yeah,
Is this the one favoured by our friend Mr. Fisher? I think.
yeah, absolutely it is. I have
And
started.
what's more traditional? Knight F3 to block the pawn, or immediate D4 to try and win it back?
Knight F3 is the move that is generally played, I think, at all levels.
Yeah.
Beginner, intermediate, advanced, master level. Um, but Bishop's Gambit is absolutely fine. It's not that different, and I play both.
Mm.
I'd say that the Bishop's Gambit can produce some really sharp lines, as we'll see. That's just what this opening is called when you play the bishop to c4.
Yeah. Okay. Now your opponent follows in kind, and the eval bar doesn't approve of that very much. I do approve of the fact that we're eyeing up the F7 pawn at this point already. Um, so this again is fairly familiar to me,
Mhm.
you know. But it's chess, isn't it? There's not. Oh,
Right. Well, I don't know if you recall them, but we've seen this position before
if takes,
in
you've got Queen H5 check with a fork.
right.
Wow.
Exactly. So we've seen this position before in chess boot
I
camp.
looked at the King's Gambit, what, 3 months ago or something like that, and decided I couldn't quite pluck up enough cojones to dive into it. But wow. So yeah, that was a surprise for me. Carry on.
Yeah. So this is like a tough move to play, even when you look at the analysis after a game and realize that you didn't play this move and it was the best move.
Mm.
Because as we'll see, the consequences are a really, really sharp game that is really double-edged, and you have to sort of keep pushing and
Mm.
in that theme of sort of evil or
Yeah.
trying to have a killer instinct.
So here, King takes, and Queen H5. I guess
Yeah,
played that instantly, 1.2 seconds.
yeah.
What should Black do here? Should he come forward or something ridiculous?
Um,
Because
no. I think that's the best move, but whatever Black does,
yeah,
the mistake is in the initial move, bishop to c5.
right.
Should not be played.
That simply allows that one. Wow. And of course, this pawn's undefended. The king's moved. The king's lost castling rights, and this rook is going to struggle, and so is this one. I mean, it's going to take what, one, two, three moves, 4 moves at the very least, even to get this rook
Hmm.
out into the board. Wow. Okay. So now your opponent straps a pair on and plays Queen H4 check.
Hmm.
And King F1 is a very thematic King's Gambit move, isn't it?
Yeah. Now, interestingly, that's one of basically two moves that's about the same. You can also play Queen to F2 and block.
Yeah, probably both winning.
Slightly. This produces the much sharper game, but King to F1 produces a considerably more tactical game.
Yeah, I think knight f3 has to happen soon.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hmm.
And this is the first point at which the eval bar is going to get confused at various points, right?
Yeah, I see a fork.
Absolutely, and that's what I played here. But
You
I've also played, yeah, I've also played Queen takes on C7, and that was my other candidate move here.
okay?
In bizarrely another game that I played this morning,
Yeah,
and I think they're both equally good once the eval bar gets some time to calm down.
okay. So King G7. I mean, I'd be starting to think about warming up my dark square bishop at this point, but guess you grab the rook.
Right, and this is something that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you ignore the eval bar for a moment, I sort of knew taking the rook here was actually, if my opponent played well, swapping my queen for his two rooks.
Oh, okay. So is there a line where he can trap your queen on the back rank? Some.
Yeah, well, if you think about it, the bishop's got a check on a6, right?
Yeah.
So that's one tempo. Now all you really need is time to play one more move, which is to move that bishop on b8 out of the way.
The knight.
Sorry, the knight. Yeah, correct. And then the queen is essentially trapped.
Okay, right. That's with accurate play from black.
Right, and I didn't know this in advance. I just, even though I think I only spent like 10 seconds on this move, I I knew instinctively, and this is sort of my point about these sort of, when you're taking advantage of a weakness like I did with bishop to f7 at the beginning of the game,
Yeah.
you have to be aware that there are trade-offs here. It's not all going to be comfy. And I was at home with the fact that I might be trading off my queen for two rooks here.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing to do. Yeah, I did it myself today as well. Okay, so opponent now plays f3, which
Yeah,
eval says is a blunder because you've just got knight takes f3 with tempo on the queen. I guess they can grab your pawn, your e4. No, you can't. Queen defends it.
right.
So you take there with tempo. Bishop a6 check now comes, but surely d3, yeah? Yeah, d3 blocks. And now this knight's hanging, as is this pawn.
Mm-hmm.
And the queen still has a way out.
Precisely. And I would say that the biggest lesson from this game is that if you're thinking about, what's my intuition around, killer instinct and whether I have done enough sort of puzzles training or whatever in these positions, to me, instantly, I knew I'd won the game
Yeah,
when my opponent played f3.
yeah.
You the eval's more aggressive on it than I thought. But if we go a couple of moves back, as soon as they played that move,
That's
I knew that was the end of the
no,
game.
yeah, yeah. Now, I think what's interesting though, when you get a position like this, and is to notice what the chemicals in your body do. What is your emotional response when you go, that was a blunder. My opponent is now on the ropes. And I think it's very hard simply to maintain the same, level of just disciplined evil. To go, right, okay, I'm not going to rush at this, and I'm not going to snatch at it. I'm going to pull his legs off one by one, is the idea. Okay, so he does this, you do that. Queen retreats. You take the knight. So this is, I mean, Okay, and there's the discovery, but it doesn't matter because you've got 3 pawns and your queen can easily escape and just keep gobbling up pawns and trading.
And yeah, as we'll see in the next couple of moves, there is one sort of critical element to this whole position that you sort of have to see from even back when I took the knight on b8, which is this.
Okay, so basically you're forcing an exchange of queens, right?
Yeah, and my opponent sort of loses it here.
Oh, okay. Well, it is a tech. Well, it's not a free pawn because you can now grab the bishop.
Right. And I think they thought, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
I think I knew what they were thinking here.
Okay, let me see if I can. Do you think they've got like a tactical trap in mind or something?
Yeah, I think they thought, as happened, that they can take the bishop on c one with the
Yeah.
rook, and then yeah. So after I capture the bishop
Ah, I
with
see.
my queen,
Yeah.
they thought they could take the rook.
Take the bishop here.
Yeah, sorry, take the bishop here. I recapture with the rook, and then their queen forks on b2.
So and then queen b2.
Yeah, forks the
Yeah,
two
yeah.
pieces. Unfortunately, it still falls foul of the one issue in this position, which is that my queen on d4 is a check at the end of all of it.
Oh, yeah. Because check trumps everything, doesn't it? And now
Exactly.
exchange is forced, and now they resign. Good game. But that's the kind of game that you enjoy, right?
Yeah, it's draining. And like, you know, I always think this particular line is one that I lose all the time, but it's actually the highest winning percentage. You know, this
Hmm.
when they bring their bishop out to c5 in the bishop's gambit.
Yeah.
So this line here, I always think, oh God, I get into awfully like double-edged positions and lose. But I've got about a 70% win rate
Yeah.
here.
And bishop takes f7 is the number one engine recommendation. But in actual fact, even moves 2 and 3 are distinctly better for white now. You're getting up towards +1.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, good stuff. And of course, we can check it on very easily on opening tree or whatever. Okay, let's switch over to this one as well because I'd appreciate your thoughts on this as a fellow Russo player.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 5 minute that I started with this morning. My opponent's rated 1596, and I'll just take you through it. So you've not seen this before, and everyone's playing the Italian right now.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed Vitralis put in our on our club chat that he's seeing a lot of Janishes with people playing the Spanish, but I don't know. Maybe I see so few Spanish openings at the moment. I'm getting the Russo all the time now. Okay, so Russo declined here with knight c3, and this is a mistake.
Yeah.
-2 according to the engine, because well, what I did was then I take the pawn because of this classic trap.
Mm-hmm.
They recapture, you have d5 winning material.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And this is a pattern that you get a lot in a lot of 3 knights or 4 knights arrangements. And you just need to be really awake to it. Try and entice their knight onto there. I mean, this is like the Halloween Gambit is similar. Okay, so they don't fall for it, and they go for this, which I'm sure you've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And here, this is interesting. So here, I've got a hanging knight and I've got a hanging bishop, and I figure that I'm better off taking the knight because then I've got a continuation capture on g2.
Mm-hmm.
He will probably bring his bishop out to defend that. So I take the knight, and of course the bishop's still hanging, so the bishop has to move. Bishop goes back here. I take again and takes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pawn up. Queen f6 now. The computer didn't like that very much. I'm always conscious about this, and if I haven't got a king's knight, then I know that queen there is okay. Because if you do just something, casual, then you could end up with queen out here with check, and then g6. Well, in fact, he can't take on e5 because it is defended by my queen's knight. But yeah, so the computer didn't favor that one very much. What would you play in this situation? Develop the bishop and castle quickly? But then
Yeah,
you,
yeah. I think
or even d5 maybe.
no, I think I would develop, and if I was gonna push the D pawn in this particular situation, I'd probably push the D6.
Okay, but maybe get the queen
Um,
first.
yeah, so that's probably why I would just develop the bishop first. Uh,
Hmm.
it's a bit of a weird position. I probably actually, I
Yeah.
don't know what the computer would say about this, but I probably would have taken the bishop instead of the knight back when the bishop was on G8.
Okay, so in this position, no, it says take the knight.
Yeah, yeah.
E6 F3 it's marginal. It's
Hmm.
207 to 20. So yeah, really marginal. That's probably best. And then F takes G2, yes. Bishop takes G2, yes. Now here, the machine says D6. And also Queen H4. Didn't even consider that one.
Yeah.
And Bishop E7. Bishop E7 looks weird because you're blocking your queen right in. But yeah, D6, interesting. But yeah, because I thought about this one, but this honestly did not even cross my mind. Benefit of that is it pins a pawn.
Hmm.
Um, and you've got this entire fourth rank as well to play with. Just thinking about the principle of increasing scope. Okay, so anyway, so I play this. Computer doesn't like it too much, and now white castles with the king straight onto an open G file.
Hmm.
Um, Bishop c5, developing, pointing at the king. Again, the eval doesn't think too
Hmm.
much of that. I've probably got ideas of d6 develop and long castles at this point. Oh, with knight d5 is a good move here. Knight d5, yeah, attacking the
Hmm.
c7, threatening the and hitting the queen. But
Hmm.
then knight d5 has to be queen d6, yeah. And then c3, it's saying, But he misses that. He plays queen here, which is poor. Actually says queen. Queen g6 is the number one move.
Right.
Again, I didn't consider it. Because if takes, we've got just
An open H4, yeah.
hmm. So I just instinctively push g6, which is actually equal.
Yeah, I think I probably would have done the same. I can see the merit now in Queen to G6, but
Hmm.
certainly my instinct would have been to push the pawn.
Queen retreats now. It said again, bringing the knight into d5 was the stronger move. And now d6, it doesn't like too much. Computer saying knight d4, hit the queen, yeah. Here all I'm thinking about solidifying,
Hmm.
right? When actually the best move was to go on the offensive because there was a clear opportunity there. Put my
Hmm.
knight on a better square, put my knight in the center, attack the queen, attack the c2 pawn. That would drive the queen back here, wouldn't it? Or here. Yeah.
Right.
So I solidify. Now the knight comes in, but not as deep as it could. It says queen e7, then queen f5. So queen f5 is fine here.
Yep.
Defends knight. Now I have a slight edge. I am a pawn up, but I'm not -1. Now my knight comes in,
Yeah.
and he has to play queen d1. He doesn't. He plays queen d2. Queen d2 is not among the better moves because of knight f3 check. But now it's saying bishop b6. That looks subtle.
Yeah.
What's the thinking behind bishop b6?
I was going to say knight to f3 check.
Yeah, that's the recommendation. So knight to f3 is a royal fork, so that would force bishop takes,
Right.
queen takes, queen d1. So let's just look this one through here. Yeah, I mean, we've removed and look at this now as well. This bishop's going to come flying in
Right.
here.
Yeah, and for whatever reason you can't immediately do that. You've also got a rook coming to the open f file if need be. I mean that looks like a very exposed king for white after that sequence.
So queen comes here. So the idea of queen d1 being better is that they've got extra control here.
Right.
Okay, so I missed bishop. Well, bishop b6 is a funny one. Knight f3, bishop d7, also preparing to castle. Okay, so I play knight d4, queen d2. Oh, I do play knight f3. I do play knight f3 in the game. Bishop takes in the game. Queen takes. Okay, so this is what we get. I assumed I'd missed it in the game. Okay, and now queen out to g5. Queen. This is preventing long castles. I could have forced an exchange here, being a pawn up, and maybe that would have been a good idea. It's not saying that. It's actually saying short castles is best, with 3 attackers on here, but also 3 defenders.
Yeah.
Bishop to d4 is also good, but that's computery. And bishop h3.
Yeah.
Bishop h3 is the move I play.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in now with a check. And this is now a losing position. So I play king d8. The computer says, so king d8 is nearly -3. King f7 was by far the stronger one, because if king f7, there's no subsequent check. I knew king d8 lined me up for a discovered check, but I couldn't see this knight moving anywhere with a nasty threat. So he comes here, I run away, but this is now completely winning, actually, black. Okay, notice we've both got just under 2.5 minutes on the clock, so time is not a major issue. Knight comes back now, and here, I think this is like the critical point. Here, all lines are like -6, -7, -8. And what I did was I snatched off the rook. I figured that grab the material while I can, and then think about finishing the attack. What I should have done is rook f8.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I play on the next turn. So I do this, rook f8, and of course I'm now threatening here. But the problem is, as you can see, there are 2 good moves. I mean, computer says queen g2 or queen g4 or queen g3. Anything either defending this pawn, or the move that they actually played was this, then forcing the queens off the board to simplify.
Right.
Now let's just look it through again from here. If I'd have gone rook f8 first, that obviously this move wasn't playable because my bishop's guarding that square. So if they played, say, queen g3, which is number 3 recommendation, I've got queen h5.
Right.
Okay, what's the idea there, though? I mean, that's certainly a threat, the rook lift.
Well, there's also in that. Oh no, not quite. I thought the knight was effectively hanging there, but it's not. Because there's the bishop on.
But in this situation, yeah, I grabbed off. I mean, this is still winning. Now I play this, and now he forces the exchange. The queen takes, knight takes is best, and I'm still in a winning situation. Um,
Right.
I think I actually lose this game on time in the end.
Okay.
But so this bishop's annoying because I'd love to be able to take the knight because the only other difference
Sure.
didn't. Now I start to improve my king. And now we get into some endgame stuff, Pete, which you will undoubtedly enjoy because I know you're a real aficionado of the endgame.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. Okay. And this is all good. I'm still -6, -7. Still winning. Now I swap off. Still winning. Double up my rooks.
Hmm.
Now it's saying
Okay.
G5. G5. That's interesting. I bring my king up. Sorry about dogs.
No problem.
Rook F3, it says is the most accurate here, but DE is also good. I push, kind of shutting down the position. Maybe that's not what I want to be doing when I'm the one with two rooks.
Right.
Also notice his pawn is hanging as well. But so this shuts it down. And at some point soon, I'm bound to make some kind of blunder. If attacking me, I'm just this I don't think was strong. This, now his rook has to come off the board.
Sure.
And now I decide to trade off. And this is winning, winning, winning all day long. H takes, king f7. Yes. Completely winning for black here.
Right.
It's saying he should retreat his king, which doesn't make much sense to me. He comes across. King g6 is best. King h4 now. And now I have to burn a move here.
Yeah.
It's saying I have to play a6. Everything else is better for white. I burn the move. Good. King h3. I grab the pawn. Wow. And now it's -20. So I'm completely winning here. And so here, h4 check. Yes. King moves. King h5. I should put my king behind the pawn.
Right. Yeah.
I
Oh,
advance the pawn.
yeah.
Yeah. This is the blunder. This is our end game. I mean, this is what we've been studying for the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
I should have put my king behind the pawn. King behind the pawn, and he can't go there or there. So he would have to move away. Other than that, he's got this which is losing and this which is losing. So he's in Zugzwang on the queen side with all his pawns. That is the move that I needed to find. And he would have just had to retreat somewhere. King e2 -50. So that
Right.
was it. That pushing that pawn was my big mistake. He comes in now, and now I really want to get through here, but I can't because I'm in opposition with his king, and that's a blunder.
Hmm.
Now h2. Oh, I had h2. That
And
was
then
it.
you could get in. Yeah.
And then he has to take, and then I'm in. And that's what you get for playing blitz. You get to throw away winning positions. But the point is, it's a lesson. So I was quite happy with my level of evil in that game. I don't think we missed anything too bad. I think the key one that I take out was this position when I decided to go for and snatch the rook instead of
Yeah.
building up to a crushing attack rather than and this is just kind of simplifying too early. And that just gave my opponent more of an even playing field, I think.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the other thing I would say is when you're my experience is that when you're going to sort of go on this sort of initiative, you really need all the resources that you can possibly marshal. So Um, I, you want your rook on the F file as soon as humanly possible in this sort of position. Whatever the eval bar says, I think the more attackers that if you are going to go on this sort of attack in the opening/middle game, you have to bring every single piece you can to bear.
Yeah,
And if there's an open F file, there has to be a rook on it
yeah.
as early as possible.
I mean, let's say they burn a move here. I think you've even got that. Oh no, no, because F take.
No,
I
of
thought
the other rook,
I
yeah.
know he's got another.
Otherwise, yeah, I
Yeah,
know what you're saying because I was looking at that times as well, the opera mate, but it's almost the more you can line up, and even before this, which I think at some point earlier the computer was saying short castle,
yes,
but I was actually thinking just rook to f8 anyway without castling. But
yeah,
the idea is the same basically in a human sense, is that if you've exposed their king in this way, like forget about anything else. Just bring every single piece into the game, and you should profit
yeah.
from that. Um,
It's what Simon Williams calls premature attaculation, isn't it?
right. Yeah. When you don't have enough pieces coordinated to actually attack.
Mm, yeah, but interesting stuff, I think. And that King's Gambit game was certainly fun. But yeah, it feels like I am playing better. I mean, and to take down somebody rated, just shy of 1600, and to get a completely winning position. I think if I'd have had 3 minutes on the clock or 2 minutes on the clock, I'd have left him in the dust. But
Absolutely.
but yeah, so I'll take that. It's satisfying, and I have managed to get back over 1500 today. So yeah, I'll keep your seat warm because I'm sure you'll be joining me in the 1500 club very soon, mate.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Thanks very much, man.
No worries. Thanks for jumping on, and
No
thanks
problem at
for
all.
watching. Yeah, and I'll see you soon, Pete. Take it easy, mate.
Cheers, mate.